it forward. End zone, his second touchdown. Pocket starts to come back. Got hit. And the ball is loose. Third and 4. He's coming.
Yo, welcome to another episode of AFC North, presented by True Classic. Upgrade your shirt with True Classic. And yes, guys, we were seeing all the intro with the little music and all this, and because Sunny has only slept 3 hours in the past 20-something hours, I forgot to hit Let's Go Live, right? So we're watching it. But anyway, Ace, where's Ace? Where's Ace at? Oh, wait, I think I see him. I think I see him.
How you doing, AFC North Talk? Just reading a little literature here. It's called The Raid. The ending was pretty bad. I'm not sure what happened out there on Sunday night. Might have heard from my twin brothers, Stinka Fitzpatrick and Amari Cooper. Well, this is Marlon Dumphrey. And, look at that birdie there. That bird is kind of old. I don't know what's going on. Its beak is a little long. You know, I was supposed to be here last week, but heard it was the preseason and I had a little flight delay. So I decided to show up this week. You know, they say the birds fly south. I think they'll be flying to Cancun pretty shortly. You know, Cincinnati Bengals. We did it to them again. Another season ender for the little birdie. Hey, birdie, how you doing? I told you this. I gotta be fragile with it. This bird is very old, almost a fossil. But it's time to say goodbye to the Baltimore Ravens. Back to back, the AFC North is intact. See you later, birdie.
Oh, damn. We got also we got a funeral today. We got the funeral today. I see. Look, we'll talk about this game probably.
We talk about Greg Roman being the greatest offensive coordinator of all time today. Can we talk about we spent all this time talking about how great the Bengals defense is, and we forgot that Greg Roman is his greatest defender. You know what I mean? Like, that was crazy. Though, like, somebody please. I know we have fans that put together supercuts. Put together the supercut of every Ravens red zone possession, like every single red zone play, and tell me how many times they throw the ball in the actual end zone in that whole time. You know what I mean? It was a bunch of screens. It was a bunch of tosses, a bunch of they ran the play. I'm like, hey, you should probably run this at the goal line with Tyler Huntley. They ran that on 3rd and 1, dog. What?
Hold on. Sonny,
in the middle of the field.
We gotta switch, bro.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry.
Like, am I tripping, or was that everything that Raven fans say they hate about Greg Roman, like, just wrapped up into one? Like, that's got to be it for him. I mean, I know his contract's up, but like, how do you renew?
Wait, contract's up? I didn't know that. I did not know that. Thank you for
this is the last year of his contract, right?
Oh, this contract is up? Ooh.
I don't know. I wouldn't think it mattered, but yeah. If it's up, it's even better. It's even better. Look,
even better if you just decide to move on from him, but that means you have to re-sign him to bring him back, which would be an absurd headline.
Well, the fans will lose their mind. The fan base will lose their mind. I will lose my mind. And this is for the person that has said before that Greg Roman is a problem, not the problem, right? I said that plenty of times. But before we talk about the game, let's talk about. We have a couple super chats. Let's go through some super chats, and then let's dive into this beautiful game. By the way, the game was great. Like, if you just let's detach myself as a Raven fan, because obviously I hated the outcome, but like as a game, as like AFC North game, like good defenses and just Ravens offense was okay. The Bengals offense were a little bit better, but that's as a whole game. I thought it was a good game just to watch. Obviously, I did not look like the outcome, but you know. Ray Rack here with a $10 super chat says, had the Bengals -9 a parlay that I was correct in picking every other game and just picked the spread to increase my odds, and you just had to let me down. Shout out to you, Ray Rack. I think Ray Rack is a Browns fan. Don't worry, Sonny. You can root for Tampa Bay or Tom Brady. I don't know. Only choice now. I don't know, man. That game tonight is two teams that I dislike a lot.
At least you are not a Chargers fan. You know what I mean? Like, that's the one solace we can all take. We don't root for the Chargers because they did something that would be like, yo, I would have to change my relationship with the team after that, dog. Like 27 up 27. It is the Jaguars. Like, it's not like a good team. It's the Jaguars, dog. The Jaguars. This, like, if Pat Mahomes did that, we'd be talking about how great Pat Mahomes is, not how sorry Brandon Staley is. But nah, dog. The Jaguars.
Does Staley survive?
Huh?
I
think he's going to survive, which is insane.
God, if he survives that after playing Mike Williams in a meaningless game and getting him injured, and then blowing a 27-0 lead
against the Jaguars.
That's crazy.
The Jaguars.
Yeah.
The dude threw 4 interceptions, bro.
We were talking about them having the first pick in the draft like a month ago. The Jacksonville Jaguars came back for 27.
They're a good team, but
they lost. They had to have lost the turnover differential. There's no way that they won.
Yeah.
That's like crazy. No, that's like something that happens. Like, if that happens against that's something that you can only let slide if it's a great team that does it to you, because you could be like, oh, well, you know, if this is 2007, the Patriots are just slow to start and they came back on. Cool. That could happen. The Jaguars are in no way a great team. They are not. Okay. And that will get proven next week when they probably get beat by like 20 against the Chiefs. The Jaguars, dog. The Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Nah, the Chargers have permanent stank on them. Like, you thought the Marty Schottenheimer stuff was bad back in the day?
They hired him 13-3 that year, I think, or 12, or something like that.
They're not even getting the regular season success. He's choking before the season ends. This is crazy, dog. This is crazy. Like, Phillip Rivers might be the greatest quarterback to have never gotten to a Super Bowl in the last like 20 years, and he's about to have another one. That's crazy, and they're about to do it again with Justin Herbert. That's crazy. Yeah. Love the Chargers. You know what I mean? Nothing makes you feel better about your sorry team than watching somebody give up a 27-point lead to the Jaguars, dog. The Jacksonville
West.
Jaguars.
The Chargers.
No, don't disrespect Marvin Lewis like that. He ain't never gave up 27 points. All right? Like, you know what I mean? He ain't never in a game where he inarguably has the better quarterback. Like, at least with Marvin Lewis.
Ironically, he did against the Chargers. We were up 28-0 against the Chargers, and they came back against
us. At least you can say with Marvin Lewis, like Andy Dalton, you could blame Andy Dalton for a good chunk of the playoff stuff.
Definitely.
Andy Dalton was Justin Herbert, dog. This should not happen when your quarterback's that good.
Yeah, it's sad. It is sad. By the way, who you guys have tonight?
I got Tom Brady.
I've got Tom Brady. Yep.
Yeah,
Brady.
I don't trust the Cowboys.
Don't trust them.
Who would the Cowboys play if they won, though? That's going to help me determine. Who would they play if they won?
San Fran.
Ooh. Yeah, the Cowboys ain't getting. I don't think the Cowboys are long for the playoffs.
Yeah, whoever wins plays San Francisco already, because since New York Giants beat the Vikings, the fraud.
That was
Vikings.
The most predictable upset of all time.
If this one holds tonight, if the Bucks win, that might be a clean sweep. Because I think for me and Sonny, because I think Tony was the only one that picked the Vikings, right?
I can't
That
remember.
sounds like something
I had to
Tony
go
would
back.
do.
I had to go back. I can't remember.
I know
He
the
just
AFC
doesn't
North
trust the
lock
Giants.
of the week was actually the Jaguars over We all picked the
went in
Jaguars
Jaguars. Yeah,
in that game. Believe it
yeah,
or not.
we all had the Jaguars because I don't trust Chargers going east. Never do. Never bet them going east. Anyway, so John Harbaugh and Greg Roman don't deserve a QB like Lamar Jackson. He should not play another down for this silly franchise. That's from the
I
one.
agree. Go Browns. I agree.
Ray Rack here says,
If I were
and
Lamar
what?
Jackson, I would announce your intentions to not play for the Baltimore Ravens right now, just to make sure everybody knows.
He
You
threw
know
a
what I mean?
little passive aggressive, I think.
I've
Statement
never
on
seen somebody
the
get. They were like, he didn't travel with the team nor tweet during the game. He clearly wants out. I'm like, yo, this is getting ridiculous. The level of micro analyzing.
Yeah. No, well, my wife said, like, oh, is Lamar gonna tweet during the game? It's like, why? He knows anything he said is gonna get scrutinized. If he's gonna tweet, it's gonna be after the game if he wins. If we win, he'll be like, oh, congratulations to my boy, blah, blah, blah. Any other than that, anything he says is gonna get twisted and
I'm sure Sonny heard this, but you saw what he posted on Instagram this morning.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's
crazy.
What'd he do?
I
He had a post that was like basically it said something along the lines of like if you take something for granted, something like that. Yeah, it was a cryptic post.
Now, when he starts putting Freebird on his Instagram story, you know what I mean? Like,
okay. What was the clock management at the end of the game? They wasted 40 plus seconds just to run a draw with 30 seconds left. That was awful. I agree.
I think the draw was awful. I get what they were trying to do, right? Because they didn't want Joe Burrow to get a chance to come back there, but the draw just lost me. They lost me with the draw. I'm like, I understand.
How do you operate with that level of confidence when you stunk in the red zone all game? Though that's the part that got me. Like, yeah, it makes sense if you're the Chiefs and you have scored on all of your possessions. But if you're the Ravens, there is no thought in your mind that should be, hey, we can't leave too much time on the clock when we score. You scored once in the red zone this entire game. You've been terrible the last quarter of the season at scoring in the red zone. What gave you the confidence to waste any time on the clock in that situation? I have no clue. You are a hopeless red zone team.
No, we'll talk about it later. Anyway, Sonny, did you see the stats with the Ravens scoring less than 17 points in the last 6 games? I mean, I lived the stats.
What do you mean, stat dog? He's had to watch those games.
Yeah. I know all these. I know we barely score. I mean, anyway, Bengals are also privileged franchise, Hugh, like Pittsburgh.
Nah, the Bengals have been through too much. All right. You know what I mean? The Bengals are Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Like, they went through the struggle and then they got rich. You know what I mean? The Steelers are Kylie Jenner, where they did not go through the struggle. They had billionaire parents, and then they turned into billionaires afterwards. You know what I mean? That's the difference. I have respect for the Bengals struggle, so I can respect what the Bengals are doing right now. I don't like it, but I respect it, you know? But the Steelers, no respect. Those are trust fund babies.
I do have the Lamar quote because I don't want people to like make more of it than it is. So here's what it is. He posted this that says, and it's in his Instagram story, when you have something good, you don't play with it. You don't take chances losing it. You don't neglect it. When you have something good, you pour into it. You appreciate it. Because when you take care of something good, the good thing takes care of you too.
When you have something good, you give it the contract that good thing asking for, so you don't end up having your quarterback try to dive across the end zone and fumble the ball and give the goddamn game away. When you have something good, hey, I'm just saying. That does sound passive aggressive to me.
It does. No, that's what I said. Okay.
That sounds like he's saying you should have paid me my money, dog. Like that's.
Yeah, it's reported that the Chargers are leaning towards keeping Staley, but my whole point is they should fire. Like if they're not keeping him, why they should fire him today, right? Because he's the head coach.
No, because if he has like a bad first half to next year, you're gonna have to fire him, right? Like, why avoid what's inevitable at this point? Like that's the one thing teams struggle to do sometimes. It's gonna happen, dog. Like you're gonna fire him because what does Brandon Staley do? He makes decisions that cost football games. Like that's what we've been talking about for the last like 3 years with this guy.
Would you keep him over Sean Payton, who's out there? I would. If I were them, I'd be running to the podium to try to get.
You
Sean
wouldn't
Payton.
even want to keep him over the possibility of getting Sean Payton. And what I mean by that is you don't want people being like, oh, we kept Brandon Staley instead of going after Sean Payton next year. That's just going to be a disaster, man.
It is.
Like it just you might as well move on, man. Why are we avoiding what's inevitable here?
Yep. No, I agree. Brady's a free agent. Do you want him on the Ravens? No, I don't.
You think Tom Brady gonna come at 38 years old, 45 years old to play for the Ravens in Greg Roman's system? Come on.
By the way, I think he ends up over there with McDaniels, because I think what he really wants is the 49ers.
Mhm.
But I think the 49ers are gonna say nah, we good.
That's
here.
crazy.
That's crazy. Oh, nah, dog, we good, Tom Brady. We got Brock
Purdy. Oh, they also have Trey. Not Trey.
I mean, like, how do you feel if you were the Las Vegas Raiders and you like, yeah, man, we good, Tom. We got Derek Carr. That did not age well. You know what I mean? That one did not age well.
Lamar told no lies in that quote/repost. Mark Andrews shotgun, 2 wide receivers set on 2nd and 3rd and 20, dying second of the game. Harbaugh, Roman duo is disrespectful.
I feel like though they had to do something to give Mark Andrews the ball. Like clearly they were bracketing the hell out of him the whole game. So like they just were like, we gotta get Mark Andrews involved. I wouldn't have caught that, but like I guess you had to do something.
Yeah, handing Mark Andrews off the ball was kind of crazy. That was kind of wild. I was like, what?
Russ here says,
was it like out of like it wasn't like a quick handoff, like a fullback dive where that
sucked. No,
that was out the gun. Like that's what didn't make sense to me. It's like you handed it to him in the gun. Like I get if you want Mark because he's big and strong, you push somebody out the way. It would have made more sense if they would have ran the quarterback sneak with Mark Andrews.
In which they've done. Yeah, they've done it. They've done that. Right, but that was so stupid. Anyway, is Tony okay? Asking for the entire Houday Nation. Tony got sick after the game, and he decided not to come. No. He had a personal issue that he had to attend, so he's not coming. But it sounded like this is from Ray Rag. They were going to Hugh Jackson, him and make him change his staff at that point. Just fire him.
If you're gonna make him change the staff, I mean, you got to cut the head off of the snake. I mean, the staff wasn't making those dumb decisions that we've seen him make over and over again the last 2 seasons. It wasn't the staff.
Yeah, he's the worst. He makes me you know how I hate the 4th down things that Harbaugh does, but Staley is that on steroids.
Oh, he's the king.
Brandon Staley replacing TJ McDonald as Ravens defensive coordinator.
No, McDonald. No, you know how I hated McDonald early in the season.
No, you can't fire him after that. Like the defense did nothing wrong in that game. They did everything. I felt so bad. I was ready to fire off an unprecedented amount of Roquan Smith slander after that first quarter. I was ready, Sonny. But then the 4th quarter, I felt like, nah, dog, he did his job. He did exactly what they traded him for. They were really good. Like they shut it down. I thought that game was over after that fumble return, and then they went 3 and out immediately after that. And then they had 2 more opportunities, dog. Like, what more can you ask for the defense?
Yep. No, the defense, you can't.
Defense balled out.
Yeah, so I guess it was a good trade, but damn, dog, you still should have had some better pieces on. Maybe if you had a better wide receiver, that doesn't end up being the mess it is in the red zone.
No doubt. If Lamar Jackson was paid, he would still be out with injury. So Marlon Humphrey said, this is just Marlo. He said on the post game. Well, what Marlo said was that they always assumed that he was not going to play because he was limping around the facility. That's what Marlo said today or yesterday after the game. Sorry,
put Marlo in the Homeboy Hall of Fame. I appreciate him for doing that. You know what I mean?
I feel like a lot of people are too worried about the Bengals how they look against the Ravens. It's an AFC North game. There's never an easy game when playing a division opponent, especially in this division.
No, the Bengals are past the point to where they scored, like if they win a 1 touchdown game against somebody, we're gonna be like, oh, is this who they really are? Like they're past that point. I don't think anybody's really doing that. I don't know if maybe some people were, but like that's not like serious people aren't walking away like, oh, they're not going to beat the Bills, who barely won against Skylar Thompson, because it's like nobody's really. There's no room for that this week.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so before we go to the game, let's pay some bills very quickly, and then let's dive into the game. Ace.
All right. It's never too early to play holiday music, and it's never too early to start thinking about gifts. Whether it's a friend or a friend in your pants, you can make this season very jolly with Manscaped. Do your little drummer boy a favor and use the Lawnmower 4.0 to avoid another silent night in the bedroom. Then add Manscaped's top-of-the-line shower products to have the people thinking, all I want for Christmas is you. Santa cares about his sack, and so should you. Look nice when you get naughty by going to manscaped.com and using our promo code AFC North Talk. That's all one word, for free shipping and 20% off. The Manscaped Platinum Package 4.0 is a one-stop shop for a man who deserves it all. It has everything you need all in one package. It'll help you deck the halls from face to balls just for the mistletoe season. You're going to be able to get everything you need in that package. So if you're looking for the one-stop shop, check out the Manscaped Platinum Package. The Platinum Package has each product from the best-selling Performance Package, plus Ultra Premium Body Wash, Ultra Premium 2-in-1 Shampoo, Conditioner, and Ultra Premium Deodorant. It's the way to smell fresh from your Santa hat to your candy cane. It's not enough to just shave. You guys got to make sure that you're smelling fresh. You need that shampoo. You need that conditioner. You need the body wash as well. You don't want to just take care of your package and forget the case that it came in. So make sure that you guys check that out. The Lawnmower 4.0, as you guys know, the Weed Whacker nose and ear trimmer features proprietary advanced skin-safe technology to protect your delicate presence. Plus, both are waterproof, so there's no issue clearing your snow out of the driveway. So you can't leave the ears and nose hanging either. Just make sure that you take care of all of your needs. There's also a 4,000K LED light on it, so you can light the way like Rudolph. You can see all up in your nose, all up in your ears, wherever you need to go. They'll be able to see through that clearly. Now that you're groomed like a candy cane, it's time to make sure that you don't smell like a reindeer, like we talked about earlier with the shower products. But not only is that shower product going to keep you smell, it's also vegan, it's also sulfate free, so it's very healthy for you, and it's going to keep your skin smelling very fresh. The Platinum Package 4.0 is sitting under your tree, but to guarantee it, you need to go ahead and purchase that and get 20% off and free shipping with the code AFC North Talk at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use our code AFC North Talk. Manscaped, get your jingle balls ready for the holidays.
Also, we have here, where is it? Here, not that, sorry. Big shout out to Adam Holland, Dangazulu, and now Luis Cousin. Thank you for
Patreon.
Patreon, the top tier. We appreciate you so much. We also
need like an air horn or something when we get a new patron. I need like a little air horn.
I need to put some sound effects, but also other people have been joining the Patreon. Thank you. That's a way to support us. If you can do that, we appreciate it a lot. We don't take any of that for granted. Make sure you know if you're a Patreon, when we come live, join us. We interact with you and the live streams a lot. So thank you, all of you, for supporting us. Okay. That being said, let's talk about this game. I'll start with Q, since you are the affiliate of this game. You saw this game.
Couldn't lose. Yeah. I see people like Putty salty in the chat. I was salty last week when the Browns dropped that bum bomb on us last week, but this week I've been salt free, because what can I lose if the Ravens won? Oh, hilarious that the Bengals lose in the first round. And if the Bengals won, hilarious that the Ravens lose in the first round again. So there was no room for me to lose here. I thought that defensively for the Ravens, this is about as good as a game you can ask for against the Bengals, especially how they held up, getting those extra opportunities after that play. This game comes down to red zone mismanagement. I mean, honestly, it's not even red zone mismanagement. It's literally goal line mismanagement. Like this team had 2 drives where they ended up in goal. I think the one drive where they actually scored the touchdown, correct me if I'm wrong, Sonny, that was actually from further out than the red zone, right? That was a longer score than just like a goal line score.
One was in the red zone, and I think it was on the 5. The other one was it was a 40-yard pass. The one that was over there in the goal situation, that was the one that J.K. Dobbins did a Michael Jordan and stretch his arm and get the touchdown.
And then they had 3 more goal line possessions. They had one that ended up as a field goal, one that was the fumble, and then the last possession of the game.
Yeah, I don't know if that was. I don't
was
know.
Was that in goal? That was in goal, right? Ace, they got in goal range at that time.
I think they were in the 25.
Yeah.
No, I think a penalty pushed them back, but they were.
That might have been. Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah,
you're right.
But they were in goal. I know they weren't first and goal, but they were definitely in the red zone at that point.
Yeah.
So the absolute failure there to get touchdowns there is we've been talking about with the Ravens this whole year, right? The failure of the red zone defense. It's why they have not scored more than 17 points in forever. They had these same issues with Lamar, except for with Lamar, at least you could get bailed out because Lamar is Lamar, right? So every once in a while, he's just going to shake loose and you won't be able to make a play happen. The play calling, dog. I mean, we're going to talk about that QB sneak until the end of time. The crazy thing about it, if you watch it again, it's a bad play call because it's putting your team in a bad situation at the 3-yard line. So, no matter what, if it works or not, it's still a bad play call. It would have worked as stupid as it was if Tyler Huntley decides to run it like a quarterback sneak. But since it's so far out, this is why you don't call him at the 3-yard line. He felt the need to do what? To leap to get to the plane because he did not trust that you can get 3 yards on a quarterback sneak when he could have gotten the 3 yards on a quarterback sneak. Let
me add some context to that. Harbaugh in the press conference, 2 things he said. He said the play was not for him to jump. And second, he almost alluded they were basically gonna have 2 opportunities to score the touchdown. As
he was gonna go for
try this, and they were gonna go for it, which would have driven me insane. But still, yeah. Anyway. Continue.
Yeah, he would have gone. Yeah, he would have gone for it. That was a clear 2-for-1 thing, but it's still why would that play call, if that's the situation, if you're gonna go for it, why would that be any better of a play call than a direct snap out the gun to him, right? Why would that be any different of a call there? What made the QB sneak in his mind be the thing you go to? And that's the problem with calling at the 3-yard line because the plan isn't to jump, but if you're Tyler Huntley and you're thinking, hey, I got to score on this one, what are you going to do? You're going to try to make a play. How do you try to make a play in that situation? You're going to try to be Cam Newton. He's 6'2", but he tried to be Cam Newton. And Cam Newton can jump and dive and do all of that. But Tyler Huntley, no Cam Newton. No disrespect to Tyler. You're just not Cam Newton. So he tries to make a play. He thinks he's Superman. He finds out he is not. He finds out he.
Hey, Q, who knocked the ball out? Ooh. Who knocked the ball out of Tyler Huntley's hands?
Was it Logan Wilson?
It was Logan.
It was the GOAT. It was the GOAT. It was the GOAT. Logan Wilson. And also, Mark Andrews, you should be ashamed of yourself. How dare you not track down Sam Hubbard, dog? How do you let Sam Hubbard gas you, dog? And then he caught him and then missed the tackle. That would have been huge because the Ravens defense was playing. You might have held him to a field goal. I'm not going to give him too much because he ran 80 yards to miss that tackle. That was a hell of an effort by Mark Andrews.
He didn't miss the tackle. Go back and watch the replay. I don't know who the Bengals.
Yeah, he had his hands on his feet. The hand slipped through. He just didn't grasp.
He got pushed in the back, and then he tried as he's.
That's every tackle, though. You get pushed in the back every tackle. He missed the tackle. It's not really his fault because he should have never had to make a tackle.
That is fair. That is fair.
I'm just also making fun of the fact that Mark Andrews is seen as this athletic tight end, and a dude who is not seen as athletic in Sam Hubbard just gas down the field, and that just says a lot about how athletic edge rushers are, and we haven't been paying attention because Sam Hubbard, not athletic. We don't think of him as that, but he looked athletic on that play. But that play aside, right? Because like, okay, it was a fumble. That could have happened with anybody, right? Somebody could have fumbled at the goal line. It doesn't happen as often as a QB sneak dive fumble like that gets returned because there's usually guys back there. But yeah, okay, you can say that's a fumble, whatever. You had 2 other opportunities to get the lead back after that, right? And that's where the failure gets pointed at with Greg Roman, because one of those opportunities, you were in the red zone and you did not try to get the ball in the red zone once. You did not throw the ball in the red zone. Like, that's the one thing I find a problem with the Ravens red zone offense. They never try to throw the ball in the end zone. And part of that is because their wide receivers stink. But whose fault is that other than the Ravens? Another part of that is like, how many times are you going to try to isolate Mark Andrews and try to get him open and just say, hey, I know it's double coverage, but let's let our best player make a play versus let's try to get him on a screen 10 yards away from this. Let's try to trick play this thing and try to get it to him. It's just, there's a lack of creativity from the Ravens offense. It shows itself in the red zone where the field is condensed and trickeration is not going to work, right? And at the end of the day, if you look at their red zone play calling, it looked very high schoolish, where they were trying to throw screens to get into the end zone. You only see that in high school and non-Power 5 football. That is what they were trying to do to score in the red zone. It was pathetic. It was some of the saddest goal line sets. I said this before they fumbled that ball. It was some of the saddest goal line football I have ever seen. I had never seen a team not work super hard to stop the ball on the goal line like the Bengals did in that game. And that's what happened. It was like the Ravens were like, nah, we don't even want to make it feel like this is going to score. Like, there was never, like, in the goal line stand, there's that moment where it feels like it's hanging on an inch. Everybody gets excited. No, this was just like incomplete pass, incomplete screen, run the ball, lose 4 yards immediately. Like, it was such an embarrassing display of offensive football on the goal line. It was such an embarrassing display by the Ravens offense. And these problems have existed all year. You do nothing about them all year, they come up and bite you, right? I talked about this with the Browns. Defensive tackle issues have been biting them all year. You try to put some duct tape solutions together, eventually the dam's going to burst, and it's going to be embarrassing. The dam just burst for the Ravens offense. Now they know why they should have invested more in wide receivers. Now they know why they should have probably changed offensive coordinators a year or 2 ago. Now they know why the issues that they have on offense were things that people were complaining about and not just saying because they hate the Ravens, right? No, these are real problems that have been existing with you. And now in front of everybody, the dam burst and you got embarrassed. That's it. If anybody wants to make an argument for the Ravens offense after the last month of the year, sure, please do. I would love to have Greg Roman return for the Ravens, because as long as he's the offensive coordinator for that team, the Ravens will continue to be a maybe they win in the first round team, but they definitely ain't getting to no conference championship team.
Ace.
Yeah, for me, I think in this one, this game was always going to be close, right? Like, no matter what the circumstances were, Tyler Huntley, the Bengals didn't really have much tape on him outside of this is the first time they played him. Like, I thought about that I initially thought that they played him last year, but you got to remember that second game was against Josh Johnson, so it was never against Snoop Huntley. So I think the element of surprise was there. I think Huntley actually played pretty good, minus the interception, minus the fumble, obviously. I think that he played extremely well in this game. I'm not even trolling. Like, I honestly thought that he kept the Bengals defense on their heels in this one. And Greg Roman, I got to give it to him. Like, yes, there were questionable play calls, but I feel like he definitely was winning the chess match against Lou, especially early in the game. And I always said one of the things that I worried about with this team that they could do offensively was J.K. Dobbins. J.K. had a great game against us. At some points, it seemed like we just couldn't stop the run, which was crazy for this Bengals defense that's been great against the run all season. This team finished with 155 yards rushing, and it just seemed like anytime Huntley took off, he was either getting a first down or making a play to make the third down that would be coming up very manageable for them. So I actually thought that the Ravens did a great job. The other thing that they did was they suffocated the Bengals offense by taking time off of the clock, especially in the first half. I was shocked to see that we actually had the ball longer because it seemed like the Ravens did, because they would go on these super long drives and really milk a lot of the clock. And when that game was, I think it was 9-7, I started to worry. I'm not going to lie. I was like, well, this seemed like the Bengals were coming out and clicking, but if they're going to continue to allow the Ravens to really get these stops and hold on to the ball and they can't stop the run, they're in trouble. I mean, honestly. So when they first came out, when I saw that, I was confident. And then this thing happens where we're starting to have to play a Ravens type game. And usually what the Bengals try to do is we try to force you to play our game. We try to keep things going up tempo. We try to put a lot of points on the scoreboard. I think that they actually played more of a Ravens football game, and they were able to actually come out on top with this one. But one of the things that I always talked about, I think the Ravens, now let me give the Ravens their credit. That Ravens defense is likely probably the hardest defense that the Bengals will have to face in the AFC playoffs. I think that they're one of the best defenses in the AFC, bar none. They proved that yesterday. But I think that the one thing that I always told people was the Bengals defense. The Bengals defense in this game is going to be the X factor, because they can do things like they did in this game with forcing turnovers. Akeem Davis-Gaither comes out of nowhere with the interception. Then you get the Sam Hubbard play that happens. Logan Wilson. Like, this is the second one that's happened in the red zone. The first one that I can remember is the Patriots one, where they strip Ramon Stevenson when the Patriots are basically on the door to score and end the game with no time left. And then they do it this one with Sam Hubbard. And the funny thing about that play is he's got this whole cavalry and nobody is trying to block Mark Andrews at first. And he's actually running and looking at the Jumbotron and yelling at the players like, hey, somebody block that guy. And they're just oblivious to what's happening. But that Bengals defense, that's what they've been doing a lot this season, is those turnovers. But I got to give credit to the Ravens offense. If you were to look at the stats in this game, and I told you, Team A had 346 yards, Team B had 200 yards, I would think Team B would be the Ravens. But the Ravens offense, they almost put up 400 yards on this Bengals defense and did a great job, I think, throughout the game. The only thing that was questionable to me was I felt like J.K. Dobbins should have probably got more opportunities, more so than Gus. It just seemed like they were subbing him and Gus out like every play. It didn't seem like they would let either guy get, back-to-back consecutive touches or anything like that. It was just in and out. And I know J.K. Dobbins was upset after the game, and I understand why, because he had a hell of a game. It wasn't really until I feel like the second half of that game they started to officially hit them and stuff him at the line. Whereas before, it was like he was getting 7, 8, 10 at times. It was kind of easy for JK. So that was concerning. But for me on offense, you could tell that Burrow went into this game just respecting the Ravens defense and not wanting to turn the ball over. I think he knew that his options or the number of possessions would be limited just because this Ravens defense is so good. And he knew that they were going to run the ball, that he just made sure that he didn't force anything in this game. I believe the completion percentage was in the 70s in this game. And it wasn't a game where they really let any of the Bengals offense really get explosive. Like, honestly and truly, when you look at it, if you take away the 7, they scored about 20 points, which might not be bad for other teams, but that pretty much is slowing down the Bengals offense. Jamar Chase had a decent game. T. Higgins didn't do as much. Tyler Boyd was pretty well managed, so they did a great job against the Migos, I think, in this game defensively. But the thing that really worried me about the Bengals defense in the first half, they just could not get to the Ravens. I give kudos and credit to Ronnie Stanley, because we just saw him a week ago get dominated by Trey Hendrickson. And at one point, it was like, is Trey Hendrickson even playing in this game at certain points? It wasn't until the second half that I felt like any of our defensive linemen were getting to the Ravens. So that Ravens offensive line in the first half, they were definitely shutting down our pass rush. In the second half, we finally did some things. We tried a little bit of other things with Mike Hilton, where he was able to get, I think, one play on the quarterback. But then the Ravens offensively, and that's why I say credit to Roman, they countered that by putting in Ricard kind of as an extra lineman to kind of pick up that blitzer if we were going to send a blitzer in that aspect. And the times that they did do that, it worked, and it kind of stopped the Bengals there. One of the kids that I want to give a shout out to for the Bengals defensive line, Zach Carter. I mean, I kind of talked about it in the last 3 games. He is extremely flash. Like before that, Zach Carter just looked like a guy. He just looked like a guy that still needed some time, still needed to figure out things. And honestly, I expected him to have more of an impact in the pass rush game. He made a super impact in this game, I feel like, on run stops. He stepped it up. BJ Hill did his thing. DJ Reader, we already know what DJ Reader does. One of the plays that stuck out to me is DJ Reader literally picked Linderbaum up off of the ground and threw him into the running back to cause a tackle for loss in that game. But I think the Ravens came to play. I know Harbaugh's getting a lot of flack from the flock for like the whole wasting the time. I get what he was doing. And honestly, if you were a Bengals fan, you were worried because it was clear what he was doing was he was trying to run the clock down. They were going to try to score a touchdown, and then he was going to go for 2 and leave you no time on the clock to even get in field goal range or try to get a touchdown or anything. And, it was a smart, I guess, execution. It was smart in theory, not in execution. It just didn't get executed the right way. They didn't call the right plays. The draw play, like we talked about earlier, that was definitely a head scratcher. But I thought that that's what Harbaugh's plan was, and that's when Bengals fans, I feel like, got nervous, like, oh my God, this guy is milking the clock down so that he can go and score here, especially when you had Huntley running and stuff like that. He was always making plays there. You had Dobbins going. So I feel like that was going to be the strategy there. It just didn't get executed properly. But the Ravens, I got to tip my hats to them. This was a game. This was an AFC North battle. Obviously, another thing that happened in this game, Bengals lost a lot of linemen in this game. They lose Jonah Williams. He goes down right before the half. And you could just tell the Ravens defensive line just keyed in on that side of the line, and they were able to get some things to happen. But I got to give a shout out to the rookie not a rookie, but he's a sophomore now, but Jackson Carman took a lot of heat last year, had to play right guard. He naturally, though, coming out of Clemson, played left tackle. They threw him into that position. This kid didn't practice at the position all week, wasn't a part of the game plan, only played like 2 snaps this whole season. This dude's been a healthy scratch, as I was joking with Quincy just a few weeks ago, to be able to come in there and play solid. He didn't play perfect, but he played solid. He gave up 1 sack, but I think outside of that, he kind of held his own in that regard. So shout out to the Bengals offensive line dealing with that adversity and being able to play within it. And we had to play a Ravens game. I feel like this was a Ravens game, low scoring for the most part, down to the wire, AFC North football. So kudos to the Ravens. I know that they'll be back. But I thought that, honestly, from your enemy, I thought Huntley played pretty well. I thought the defense played well. I thought that it came down to the end. And we were a James Prochet, couple inches from a potential. We clown on Prochet.
Like the Andy Dalton, AJ Green throw, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We clown Prochet. I was like, look, dog, if James Prochet makes this one catch, and this is all
he's a legend,
done, but it sends us home, I can't say anything about James Prochet. But shout out to the Ravens. Burrow, I think, played well, not turning the ball over. We had to play that way. And sometimes in this league, to beat certain teams, you kind of have to be flexible with what your team identity is. You kind of have to match that team and find a way to win. Bengals were able to do that, and they got the victory. But shout out to those Ravens.
Look, this is a game that coming into the game, I knew it was going to be tough for us, right? We were an uphill battle. When you don't have QB1, it's always going to be tough. We were in this game because Huntley played fairly well. I agree with you, Ace. Also, we, in theory, lost. We'll talk about coaching too. But we also lost because of 2 mistakes that were deliberately done by Huntley. The pick in the first drive that Pratt made, Huntley threw it to Pratt.
That was a Davis Gaither.
I'm sorry, whoever it was.
Yo, ADG.
He threw it to him. Like you look back in that replay, and he throws it to. I'm like hit him in the numbers, right? And I'm like, okay, that happened in the first drive. I'm like, well, that's not good, right? You guys just score a touchdown. and that happened, or a field goal, and that happened. And I was like, well, that's not good, right? And then the fumble thing, right? Fumble sneak, whatever you want to call it, that we just talked about, where he was told basically you just keep it and they're bull rushing you, and he decided to jump. When he needs to know you're in the 3 yard line, there's no way in hell you're gonna stretch your arms to make it a touchdown. There's just
He
none.
was Cam.
There's none. Hey, not even from the 3, it's just almost impossible for anybody, right? Like from the 1, I hate that play because you expose the ball. Usually you get it knocked out. Okay.
Didn't Lamar do that his rookie year against the Browns, and it almost got called a fumble return touchdown?
Yes.
Yeah,
But it was from the 1, right? So I think they fumble it. Like the Browns forced the fumble, but because it was from the 1, it's very quick. You can just do like jump and you can bring it back, right? From the 3, there's no way in hell. There's none. But anyway, I don't wanna stay in that place.
unless you feel like you could clear the whole pile.
Yeah, but the
And
pile's
front
just
flip
there.
over it. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Calais Campbell might be the only guy on the roster that could have made that.
Yeah,
Like,
'cause
made
he's
that
6'8",
work.
but even with that,
And
right?
he got
because-
them long ass arms too,
Yeah.
because he's like 6'8" with like 7'2" wingspan. He could have made that work. But like, nah.
So saying that, the problem with the Ravens is it's been all year, and I said this: we move the ball fairly well between the 20s. We do move the ball between the 20s fairly well, and we get to the 20s, and this is where Greg Roman fails. Soon as we get to that red zone, whatever his little cheat sheet of plays for the rest of it needs to be burned, needs to be amnesia, right? It needs to be forgotten because he does everything different. ACR was saying that we were running the ball well. We go to the 5. Why not hand it to J.K. Dobbins? J.K. Dobbins did not touch the ball in those situations. Not once. Not even one carry. Not even one carry is like, well, he carried it once and he took a loss or he took a no gain. He did not carry it once in the second half when we went to the red zone. Why? There's no explanation. There's no, and the time management. Look, I get what he was doing, right? But at the same time, why not take the timeout and then try to run the ball in the between, right? You can spread them out. Bengals are expecting a pass and not give it to JK. It drives me bonkers, insane. Look, shout out to Justice Hill. He's a decent player, but why are you in the 2-minute offense have Justice Hill? Is he a tiny bit better catcher than JK? Maybe, but once JK has the ball, he doesn't fumble the ball like J Hill does, right? And he's way more elusive. So I get things that I don't understand how this operates. So between the 20s, the Ravens were excellent. Other than that pick, for the most part, right? We had a 3-and-out for in the second half, but they were really, really good between the 20s. Way better than I thought, right? I said in the pregame, like, this Bengals defense, we have to watch out for the Bengals defense, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, Huntley's moving the ball fairly well, and the running game is moving. So that was good. On the second half specifically, as the pass rushers for the Bengals were having success, the problem wasn't that the O-line was failing. The problem, for some reason, was that Huntley was taking the snap on the gun, and he was taking steps back from that, right? And then at that moment, well, you as a pass rusher, you just need to get there. The O-line cannot do anything else. Again, these things that Huntley needs to get better. If you're in the gun, you need to step up. If you step back, you're just telling this outside rusher saying, well, I'm here, ready for you to tackle me, right? So obviously those he needs to do better. Look, I would have been so pissed if Harbaugh would have scored that touchdown and he would have gone for 2, like legit. Why? Because the defense was playing well. If the defense was getting cooked, like there's just 2 things, right? The defense getting cooked, and you're like, you know what? It's all or nothing. Because if I give them the ball, they're coming back and they're just gonna destroy us. Got it.
Mhm.
But the defense has been playing good. The defense gave up 2 touchdowns. One of them came out from the turnover, from the pick. And then another touchdown in the second half, right? That was 14 points. The other touchdown wasn't the defense, but the fumble recovery for a touchdown. That was it. So the defense gave up 17 points, 1 field goal, 2 touchdowns. So yeah, I would have been upset. I would have wanted them to call the timeout just so I wanted to see more of the running game. This is also something that drives me crazy for the Ravens on all the playoff game. They like to bail on the run quickly. Why? Not sure. I don't know if they're like, I'm trying to prove something here. You prove nothing. You play to win the game. Doesn't matter what you have to do. You play to win. Bailing on the run in that play, in that moment, we got the ball inside the 50 or 40 with a minute something with 2 timeouts. Run the ball. Just put some runs and see if the run works. Spread them out and try to run, right? When they decided to run, it was 3rd and 20 or whatever it was, 30. Again, stupidity upon stupidity upon stupidity. It's like between the 20s, they moved the ball really good, and then they effed up. Now, on the defensive side played really good. Odafe always siding. We found him in the milk carton, and he had sack. That was good over Jonah Williams. Marlon Humphrey, the game plan for the defense was you're gonna let them cushion and you're gonna let them grab 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 yard reception. I would want them to switch a little bit and start pressing, and you have a safety over the top in case you get cooked, right? But they were allowing those yardage. They were just saying, okay, just get the 6, 7, 8 yards, right? So Marlo was there for every tackle, but Chase kept doing the hitch routes and dig routes, and keep getting Chase ate a lot, not by a lot of yardage, but just volume. But I don't think Marlo played bad. I don't think Peters, for the most part, played fairly well too. The safeties, Rowe had a strong game minus 1 play. And it's a critical play. It was crucial. There was 1 play. It's 3rd and 4, I think it was 3rd and 3. I don't know if you remember this one, Ace. Roquan comes clean on a blitz.
Yeah, I remember that.
Clean. And this is something that drives me crazy. You're looking to make a big hit. And I almost wish that they slow down getting near the quarterback, right? Because not only because you can miss the tackle, it's because sometimes you're coming like, oh my God, I'm gonna get it. And then a flag comes because you hit them too hard. You almost want these guys to just as they're coming in, not that I like that. I really just want them to just tackle them, right? It's not because of Burrow, I'm saying in general. But because how the rules are, you almost want them to come in as they coming in strong. They almost like slow them down a little bit and try to hug them and try to bring them down. Anyway, it was 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 2, whatever. 3rd and short. It would have been a sack. I mean, clear sack. Oroco missed him. I mean, Joe Burrow just moved a little bit to the left. Wasn't like he made a great move. Great pocket awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Extends the play, gets the first down. That was one of the drives that they scored a touchdown. That was one of those drives. That would have been minus 7. So the Ravens actually just shot themselves on the foot throughout this game with that one specifically. And obviously the fumble recovery, whatever you want to call the sneak, that was just like, after that, I personally was demoralized. I was like, how can you come back from this? And actually, to Quincy's point, how this defense, because then after that, the Ravens go 3 and out. And you're like, we're done. We just went a 14-point swing, at worst a 10-point swing, right? Let's assume they kick the field goal, they go for 3. Okay. You go from a 10-point swing, you get the ball, you go 3 and out. You're gonna go 3 and out. And I'm like,
it's Joe Burrow too. Like, this is what he does.
Well, what I'm saying is more like
he did that to Chris Jones before.
What I'm saying is the Bengals score the scoop and they score the touchdown. The Ravens get the ball and they go 3 and out. The Ravens go 3 and out.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you're giving the ball back to Joe Burrow with like 4 minutes left. This is kind of what he does. Let's put him away.
So you are like demoralized. Like as a fan, and I said, like, man, I wouldn't blame if the defense comes and gets cooked after that, right? You see that, and then 3 and out. Like, you can't even move the ball, try to get a field goal. But no, the defense came and clamped down. 2 possessions after that and stopped the Bengals. So I cannot say anything. Only thing I wish this defense can come back and tackle. Even the older guys play well. Like JPP is a force in the middle. He doesn't have the numbers, but he definitely makes his presence feel. Justin Houston a little bit less than JPP. Calais Campbell. I feel bad for Calais. You know, you can see him as we're going into that last position. Calais just praying over there in the sidelines. I feel bad for the guy. I like him a lot. So this is a game, it sucks. If whoever lost this game would have sucked for either one because both teams definitely deserved to win, I think, at the end. And I said in the pregame, like, don't let Mixon go off. Mixon went off in the first quarter, and I was like, shit, this is happening what I said it shouldn't happen. But after that, they shut him down, which is good. And I said, like, turnover battle, right? If you lose the turnover battle, that's it. Whoever loses the turnover battle, that was going to be it. Ravens lost it 2-1, and one of them was actually scored, which makes it double worse. That was as simple as that. I think the team hopefully comes back next year strong and builds from this. And to be honest, because my wife said, like, because she said, like, you don't look as upset. So, like, they play too good of a game for me to be upset. I got hot when they fumble. And she said, is it because I don't think I said this in this pod, but I have been telling her, like, I think the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl for a while now. So we might have lost to the Super Bowl champions. Regardless, I mean, it does hurt because you get spoiled that. And
they got a hell of a path to get through there, though.
The Bengals.
So you gotta get Buffalo at Buffalo, and then what? Kansas City at Kansas City.
Might be Jacksonville. I don't know.
And you can get the home playoff. Then you get the home conference championship game.
Okay, so we have a couple super chats before we close the show. Jupiter Ray says, "What is your reaction? Lamar Jackson traded for Carr and Adams? That won't happen. I think the Raiders are legit gonna try to go for Brady.
You don't trade for Lamar Jackson just to get rid of Devontae Adams.
That's too much of a cap hit. That would be crazy.
For who?
Cap City.
Yeah, for well, for the Raiders, yeah. Plus, they will have to pay Lamar.
Carr and Adams. Yeah.
Again, well, if Carr gets cut, it's only $5 million or traded. So anyway, Jeff Lewis here says, as a Bengal fan, that scared me after I found out was on the play that they fumbled. If they had scored, Harbaugh was going to go for 2. If he did that and got it, we would have lost. I will say, as a Ravens fan, if they score, if they won for 2.
Why are we acting like this 2-point conversion had like a great chance to score? Have we not watched the Ravens play goal line football all game?
Again, I would have just gone insane. Even if they make it, I would have still said, let's say,
their best hope was to put the game in position for Justin Tucker to win it. You could only do that all the time.
Yes, so that's what I was gonna say. Let's say in an alternate universe, we don't fumble, we score, the Bengals come. Well, no, I'm sorry. We go in that position and Prochet catches the ball. Let's say in an alternate universe, Prochet catches the ball. And
Tyler, by the way, who they Joe Power? I'm gonna just shut this down right now. Tyler Huntley in the Ravens offense did not have almost 400 yards against one of the 10 best defenses of all time. Dog. That's crazy. Okay.
Oh, but anyway, if you go for 2, even if it works, I'll be hell of a man. Go. The defense playing good. Play position game. Okay. Q. Ravens fans have been complaining for years about this style/way of building an offense, but we get called end of the bar fans.
That's why Engraven posted that picture. I was like, wondering what was going on.
Because that's a comment that the Harbaugh said in one of the press conference. Like, he doesn't pay attention to the bar fans and people.
That's why he did that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
There's nothing,
because guess who's about to be at the end of the bar? Greg Roman, dog.
There's nothing worse than losing a game where you actually play better than the other team. Unbelievable. Shout out to Laura.
You played good enough to upset.
Yeah, for sure. But at the end of the day, scores dictates the win. And was that the last super chat? No, we have one more here. Hude, quick point. Maybe if Lamar plays, Ravens win, or I could say, if our full line was healthy, we dominate. Let's stop with the what if game. I mean, there's no bigger injury. I agree. Your O-line injury sucks, but there's no bigger injury than your QB1 going down. I'm not here making an excuse.
CB1. I mean, we could play that game. We could play that if these people are healthy. What happens?
I mean, we have other injuries too, right? From Bateman and others. I'm just saying the biggest injury for any team is QB1. Now, I'm not saying here, right? Because we knew Lamar wasn't playing. I'm putting that as an excuse. But I would say QB, and after that, if you tell me what is the second biggest injury that you can have as a team, it's O-line. For sure. That's just me, right? Because I love, O-line play and D-line play. So, Ace, do you think Joey Burrow will still be able to exploit the defense, or will he have to play more cautions with a downgraded O-line?
I think going forward, you're looking at Bills, possibly Chiefs. Jaguars, I think, actually might be the toughest defensive line they could potentially face. But you're not facing a Ravens defense, so I think that allows them to take more chances, especially against a team like Buffalo next week.
Why did Lou make that defensive call on D-Rob? Touchdown was horrible. Just play too high in the situation. Different game if you don't make the call. Well, they're stopping that. They're trying to stop the run. So they probably get surprised as much as us got surprised that they threw it deep.
Yeah.
And then the last,
guys.
Yeah, take care, Ace, man. This is the last super chat here. Burrow got the prime Brady luck. Make me nervous. That's from Luke. It's gonna be some good games in the divisional round. The rematch from the game that didn't happen between the Buffalo and the Bengals. It's gonna be a good game. I think it's dumb that it's playing Buffalo, by the way. Should have been. If they really want to pull a whole neutral side thing, they should have just put a neutral side between Buffalo and...
Yeah, but they did research, though. It's not like home field advantage actually matters that much when it comes to the result, as much as we like to think it does. It's just something for... So I don't think that's going to change what the result would have been if that was home or away.
You mean between Buffalo and Cincinnati?
Yeah. So like the home field, like if you play at home versus you play it away, it really doesn't change win percentages that much, if any.
Okay. Well, guys, that's gonna be it for us. We're coming back this week previewing the Buffalo and Cincinnati game. For all y'all, thank you for watching. For the people that are watching the replay, also thank you. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe. Thank you all. We'll see you next time. Peace out.